So the event is over, so there is no more free event gifts. And I have not actually activated that event subsystem for frigates, so... But I still have it here, and I think it's available for 7 more minutes. That's interesting. I would rather not. So, the reason why I don't want to activate it is because probably for someone watching this in future, this might not be any more applicable. So instead I will just continue with the account. The goal of today's stream is to maybe check what's the status of the systems, see if we can kill some plexes quickly, some novice outpost for example, and check the status of factional warfare. And after that, I think we need to extract the money that we have earned so far in the form of loyalty points. That will take a little bit. Okay, so it's tier 3, so it's worth doing stuff here very much. And a lot of people, apparently. Yeah. If we are not able to continue doing some effective farming, then instead I have created a new account, and we will be using this new account and another 1 million skill points, which is perfectly valid use of this program, to create a scanner alt, and we will take that scanner alt directly into null security space using the money that we have earned already. This 7 million is probably not yet enough, but if we extract a little bit of our loyalty points into cash, that will be enough. Okay, and at the end of today's stream I will do a small raffle for subscribers of our channel, and I hope you can get some small prizes to support your initial days in EVE Online. I know the first 100 millions can be very painful, so I'm giving them out from the alpha characters that I have been using for trading. Okay. So we have Jackdaw, Imperior. Actually, I don't think that we care about either of those, because we are going for Novice Outpost. So let's align there and check the status. You can do that conveniently by setting a narrow angle and then pressing and holding V and clicking left mouse button on the target in the space. And as you can see, no one is waiting for us there. So we can safely warp into that outpost. And actually, I made it sound too complicated. It was possible to just check if it is visible in overview. If it is not, then nobody have ever warped into it. So yeah, let's do just one novice outpost for starters, and just because we can do it. And last stream I also promised to check out the capacity of our frigate to kill a destroyer class enemy. This might be challenging, and we need to check if we have enough DPS to kill them. Okay, what other news are here? So I have checked out on another character the status of nullsec exploration, and it looks promising. there are a few things that you should know about which areas you want to farm and not. There are also cool things, so-called metaliminal storms, which basically create system-wide effects in certain regions. We can find them here using the map. And if we go to these settings and then geography, metaliminal storms, then they will be all indicated. These areas are actually semi-permanent, meaning that if you stand there, well, if you get into one, that storm will be in the same place for quite some time, for at least one day, as far as I understood. And after that, you will basically... it will basically shift by 1 or 2 systems into a random direction, and they drift in such a way until they get, well, somewhere. They basically don't ever die out. And you have this kind of event-like conditions. And let's keep a range at 25 so that we capture it. Okay. So yeah, the reason why those metaliminal storms are very important for scanning in nullsec is because there is one type of storm, the electric storm. They all have their own flavor, basically one for each damage type. And the electrical storm that damages your EM resistance as debuff, it also increases your capacity to scan and hack different plexes. So essentially, this is like a heaven for a scanner. In fact, when people go there, they will often see some advertising from exploration-oriented corporations who recruit newbies. I didn't figure out really how to find those mobile depots, because you basically need to have a combat scanner probe to do that. But, well, maybe they are on some objects that you can just warp in. I was not really that interested in them. But yeah, the point is, you want to check out those storms, even though they are obvious attractor for different scanners and players, and probably also PvP oriented players who want to hunt down some newbies. They are actually not that dangerous. The main reason is because, at least in the electrical one, you are protected by the effect, because it disables cloaking on all ships. So if you are flying this cheap Tech 1 reconnaissance frigate that cost you like 2 million, maybe 3 million ISK, then you will be actually able to just get there and see all potentially cloaked enemies like Asteros and Tengus and other cloaky ships, which are normally your worst enemy when you are doing some hacking. Sorry for my voice and coughing. I guess I got a little bit cold today. Anyway, so the point is, these are very nice areas, and if you are interested in nullsec, I strongly recommend you go in there. There are 2 electrical storms on the map all the time. One is currently in the area southeast here in Pargansol, and if I remember correctly, the other one, well, I don't recall which one of these 3 in the northwest. You can check which storms are located where by going to Eve Scout site, and they have a table of storms that were recently located, and basically they tell you what is the type of the storm and whether which is the central system. And the central system basically identifies about 5 to 7 systems in which the storm has effect, because it basically affects not just central system but also 3-4 jumps away by gates. Not like a constellation based effect, but just jumps away. Okay. And then the next question is obviously this storm here in Pargansol. It is located actually quite far away from Empire. How do you get there, and what is the best way to get there? I can probably demonstrate you today with this exploration alt. And while doing that, I will also demonstrate you one very cool system to live in, especially if you are interested in scanning, because that system is actually a wormhole space system, a special one. It's called Terra. And from that system you can get access to a lot of different K space systems at once. So you have locations and wormholes that lead directly to at least 2 or 3 different high-sec areas and systems, then low-sec areas and systems, and also null-sec. And we are going to use this Terra system. We will enter it. We will find the entrance into it using the information that is again publicly provided by if scouts. And we will get into it. We will find the exit wormhole into some nearby null-sec system nearby to that storm, and we will see how we can fly in that area and get some profit. Do I have music on if client? Yes. Malediction, that's dangerous. That's potentially very dangerous, but they are not yet here. Malediction is Interceptor, Tech 2 frigate, which is basically a specialization of a frigate on catching things. So they have very good capacity to hit small targets at the same time, and also not get hit by larger targets, because they have bonus that allows them to fly on their micro warp drive without significant penalty to their signature. That makes them very, very hard to hit. And they also naturally small because they are frigate size and have bonuses to tackling module ranges like disruptors and scramblers, so they can tackle from a little bit further away than your normal frigate. Need to make a count how many actual frigates we need to kill. What is going on here? No, I want to get here. Wrong object. So our faction is Minmatar Republic, and we need to get, after we are done with this, to some station that is owned by this faction. More specifically to the Tribal Liberation Force, yes, this one. This is a factional warfare corporation, and we want to get to a station that is owned by them, that is quite close and at the same time in high security space. So maybe this, or Heck. Actually, Heck might be the most convenient one. So once we're done with this one, we are going to just escape. Again, the goal for us is not to have a single character that it will do everything, but to utilize this 1 million skill points to its maximum and have a lot of different characters that specialize into different ships, which you can basically get immediately, and by just paying ISK out of your pocket. And that will help you to get more different specialization, try out different things in the game, like for example mining or exploration or industry. Well, you cannot really do industry with alpha account, but you can try some industry. And yeah, from there you can choose whatever you like and then earn some money. I have realized today that there have been apparently some changes in the rules, and now it is possible to actually have a queue of skills that exceeds basically 1 day. Previously it was possible to only have up to 24 hours of skills in the queue, excluding the last one. So you were able to do, would have been unable to do something like this, what I just did. This was not possible for alpha accounts, but it is now, and that is great because now we can just set up any account, any character with 1 million skill points, have them come on, what's going on? So you can set up an account, a character, set up a plan for them, and leave them for 3-4 months sitting there training skills, and after those 3-4 months you will get a character that is up to the 5 million skill points in skills. Of course you can only train alpha skills, but that's not the point. The point is that by doing this you allow yourself the option of immediately starting skill extraction. Skill extraction requires you to have 5 million skill points at least, so you will pay for 1 omega, you will train 2 million skill points or something depending on your remapping and attributes above that 5 million, so it will be 7, and at the end of this omega time you will be able to just extract this extra 2 million skill points, convert them into ISK, and get your next omega time with discount basically of about 1.2 million at the moment. So if you don't train skills on a character, on account, then you can just keep your omega status for about 300 million ISK per month. Of course, for your main character you want to still earn ISK above that so that you can train, but for a support character that only sits on a scout ship or on a scanner ship or somewhere, well, basically where it doesn't require a lot of skill points, you can do that. And you can also do a little bit of flexibility in terms of skill planning. So when you are having these unallocated skill points, they do count towards your total skill point count, so towards this 5 million mark, after which you can start extraction. But at the same time you don't have to allocate them. So you can have this 1 million plus whatever bonuses you get from daily login rewards, and you keep all of those as unallocated. You keep training. Once you hit the omega mark, you start paying for omega, and then you can allocate those skill points already into omega skills immediately. So you can get some extra boost at that point. They really need to slow down this response, because... or I need to kill things faster. This is a little bit annoying. 4 minutes. So the stream is now at 20-minute mark. That's quite a lot. So effectively we wasted at least 10 minutes shooting frigates. So yeah, it is a good question whether it is worth doing those offensive plexes. At least when you are not having enough DPS to kill those frigates very fast. On the other hand, the factional warfare is essentially make a character that will join factional warfare and forget about it. So you can fly factional warfare ship that is capable of capturing defensive plexes without investing any skill points into the character. So you create it and it immediately can fly a frigate, that's enough. Or the only thing that the character needs is actually money to buy that frigate. So you can have, in theory, one character for each factional warfare and just jump between the most profitable one for today. For example, Amar is almost at tier 3 as well, which is possible. So once they hit this slightly above 40% mark, they will also join tier 3. And in Galente versus Caldari, I cannot really tell with this screen, but I think Caldari has been at some point even at tier 4 recently, and it now fell down to tier 3 already. But things change in factional warfare quite rapidly. Big corporations will push things to certain tiers if they want to farm certain factions, so keep watching those numbers. And you are pretty much guaranteed to find at least one faction that will have tier 3 level. That is, I don't remember a time where this was not the case. The only thing is that you have to have a dedicated character for them, because the moment you start capturing these plexes, you start getting these standing boosts to the corporation for which you are working, but at the same time you are also getting penalties for other factions every time you earn certain level of standing with corporations. So basically, right now I have 0.41. I think when I reach 1.0, I will be promoted to a specific rank. And once I get to that rank, this promotion event increases my standing with the whole Minmatar faction, but at the same time penalizes me with Amars primarily, and also Caldari a little bit. So this character eventually will stop being eligible for other militias if it is fighting for one side. And you don't really want to have your main character as factional warfare character, because essentially it's good for PvP, so you can join them if you want to just participate in PvP activities, but for farming, definitely would not recommend, because you will ruin your standings with half of the universe immediately if you start doing that. You can do the same also with level 4 missions that are having other empire as target. I have managed at some point to get my standing with Amar Empire to -5, so they stopped entering me into their high-sec systems, at least the most protected ones. And it took me about 3 months of grind to get out of that standing using level 1 missions and some events. Okay, so we are done with this PLEX. And the factional warfare for today, we have 17.5 thousand. And in total, 82,000 plus 7 million in cash. So about 89 million ISK. Let's go and cash some stuff out. Also, if you are flying in factional warfare, if you don't have another character, it is recommended that you have at least a jump clone, so that you don't have to basically jump between low security space like this. We are quite deep at the moment, and if we're going to hack, we need to cross quite a number of different systems. And let's hope we're not catching any camps in between. Oh yes, I almost forgot. So in the next empty system with some small outpost, we will check the DPS against destroyer. I will not kill it, just try and check if I can actually kill it. But apparently from the time it takes to kill frigates, it will be painful. And probably not really profitable, even if it is possible. I wonder what is the difference between outposts, strongholds and facilities. I honestly don't know. Is it just some names? Because apparently what happens inside is pretty much the same all the time. There might be some changes in terms that some might be open, but usually the open ones are listed as faction name open outpost, for example. Okay, so destroyer. With this we probably want to have an orbit around it so that it doesn't kill us. And we also will probably have no problems hitting it because destroyer is a larger target. Oh, at least for shields go quite quickly down. But not armor, no. Okay, and it wrapped itself and wrapped itself again. Yeah. So offensively with this ship we cannot deal enough damage to kill a destroyer. And we are now dealing... Okay, we are not hitting it really well, so let's keep it at range 500. Stop orbiting it, because we might be not just dealing enough. Just for the sake of experiment. Okay, so we are now having very good quality. We're penetrating the ship all the time. That's almost the best option. And we're still dealing ridiculously low amount of damage, primarily because of the resistances, because our DPS is 61 normally and we're dealing about 10 to 12 maybe, and yeah, it just recovers all the armor. So I'm not going to sit here anymore because it makes no sense. The conclusion: only novice plexes can be done with this frigate offensively, but that's not bad, at least if you are okay with the fact that you will have to move a little bit between systems, or just do defensive plexes. As for the paying out and cashing out our loyalty points, I think today we start again with data cores, because again we don't have that much ISK still in cash to justify extracting bulk with some more expensive items. The rule of thumb is that you need to have at least as much in ISK balance divided by 1000 to cash out, so we can cash out at the moment 7000 loyalty points at a time, which is not much, but it will grow exponentially. Local is primary. Yep. Some PvP corporation. Oh, hello. If you are in a situation like this, where your enemy basically will likely just jump into the system. Yeah, they did. So first of all, you want to do a little bit of waiting. You have this timer here, 40 seconds, vulnerability, actually 1 minute. So yeah, now they are gone. So we are certain that they are not trying to catch us, and we can continue. But if they do try to catch you, because they are on a small ship, there is a good chance that they will try to, and they will succeed in theory. So if you have a micro warp drive, don't do this with Afterburner, but for micro warp drive fitted ships, frigates, you might want to try to burn down, as it's called, basically enable your micro warp drive and just approach the gate as fast as possible and jump through it. Because when your enemy will try to catch you, they will actually get an aggression timer for 1 minute as well, and this aggression timer will prevent them from jumping you through, from following you through the gate. So if they do aggress, if they try to catch you, then they cannot follow you. If they don't, then they are probably still too far away from the gate. On the other hand, if they don't aggress you and you burn to the gate, then you, from the safety of the gate jump range, try warp out into the system in the direction what you want. Usually some celestial with a lot of moons or asteroid belts where they all are grouped in the same location like this is a good place. Again, here I don't see everything, but if you right click a planet, you will see how many moons it have. And if you see something like this, it's a good place. So you can jump into any of these objects and onto any moon of that planet, so your enemy does not have enough information to just follow you by warping. That's a large system. Yeah, for those who have joined later, we will have a small raffle for subscribers of this channel today, and I will be raffling 3 packages of 100 million ISK to help new players kickstart their ships, so they don't have to do this whole 6-hour train wreck of first farming some loyalty points and then doing what I'm doing right now by going through this loop of extracting things, and they can just jump straight away and catch up with our streaming. Okay, and we need to get to this tribal liberation force logistics support to cash out our items. And let's get to data cores again. Let's see how much can we actually get. $74,000, that's very small. That's even smaller. Still nothing. I think it was nuclear physics last time, which we actually managed to cash out with a very good profit. Yeah, not this time, definitely. That's not good. Definitely, that's not good. Let's see other purchases if something is possible. Yeah, you have to, with factional warfare, get used to the fact that when you are extracting a lot of stuff, you either have to haul it to Jita somehow, and since we are in Minmatar Republic, basically we cannot do that with this character, or you have to sell it by yourself here or somewhere else, most likely again in Jita, so that you get the best price. Whoa. Okay, I will check the loyalty points calculator, because basically it seems that we might have to create a character and hold this to Jita somehow. And we are currently in Metropolis, so I can check first what would be the best offer for this region. Okay, not good. The best buy offer is for security connections book, which is something that we cannot either afford nor I think it is a good idea. Second option would be to try the Synclason region, where the Galente corporations live. Okay, actually, what? Somebody wants to buy one Republic Fleet 650mm artillery at 775 million. That's obviously a scam, but well, yeah, the medium shield extenders apparently are in favor and give quite a good payout, at least in Synclason, which means that we can buy 2, 3, depending. No, actually we can probably just buy one. If we can find it. This insignia. So we actually need 2 of those, which means that, yeah, that will eat a significant share of our profit. What else? Republic Fleet Warriors are also apparently a good product. These are very easy to convert. The price here is not so good, but yeah, we can actually sell them at a reasonably high profit right here. If only we had enough risk to do that. I mean, to just set them out and wait. If you have any ideas, what would be the best way to cash out these goods, I'm all ears, and I will be very glad if you can help with that quickly. Okay, that's interesting. What? I have some conflicting information. Apparently the tool that I'm using has some old information maybe, or just estimates of what would be the buy price of a product, but I don't actually have information for this in the system. And nothing is filtered out. Okay. I guess we will have to, I don't know, sell out data cores again. Or maybe medium shield extender at this price. No. No, makes no sense. Hi. Any ideas what we can sell? So the fair price for the warriors for us would be basically 600,000 in ISK costs plus, well, warriors cost nothing. So, and we will also pay 600 ISK per each. So about 1.2 million is something we will be really happy with. I think we can do that. So let's buy just warrior ones. Yeah, ammo, but the problem is we need to find something that can be immediately sold here. Basically, Republic, fleet, anything. And if there are no buy orders for any ammo that are worth checking out, then we cannot really sell it quickly. So that would put... It's good that EVE Online does have calculator inside. So about 2.4 million ISK is what we are going to pay for that, if we assume 1 to 1000 ratio, and divide by 5000, that would be 480. So as you can see, that's not the profitable price for us. And probably nothing for nothing there is a profitable price really. We need to find something where the gap between sell and buy is rather small. Fusion, maybe. Almost. It will have, because it's the same small size, it will have close price point. No. Proton? No. Yeah, so basically everything is sold at a very high discount. Well, phased plasma M maybe. So that would be 3.2 millions. $640. Okay, that's a deal. So we will sell this plasma. That's quick and almost perfect. So we need to have phased plasma M. Did I forgot to factor in the price of the ammo itself? Yeah, I did. Back to the drawing board. But plasma is probably the best candidate so far. This one. $640 plus maybe 80, so 720 would be. Yeah, people are selling it already at a lower price point. And these will obviously are not be. So anything that is not a plasma proton, not proton, plasma fusion and DMP are three potentially good ammunition types. Oh, to hell with it. I will just buy plasma and sell it. Because right now it's more important for us to just have some money than to actually have a very good exchange rate. And we can exchange basically 4 packages, so 20,000 phased plasma M. Yeah, probably even 3. Yeah, if you are doing this, you might want to buy a blueprint and build your own ammunition, Tech 1. That will save you a little bit of money. And we will have to do this strip. So it's in the same system, but on different stations. Well, again, it's definitely not the best option. And yeah, the best option would be, of course, to go to JITA and buy some tags, and then use those tags to actually deliver things into JITA again. And I will leave all that stuff here so that we have... Where is plasma? Okay, it was on a different station. Fine. $187. Any chance we can have a cargo hold expander or even industrial here? Okay, we can have a cheap wreath. We will then use it later. So how much cargo? 3,000. Very nice. We need about maybe 20 million ISK to have everything for the sake of travel to null security spaces exploration ship. The most expensive part is not even the ship itself, but the filament that we need to get ourselves back safely. But yeah, thank you for the advice. I think it was very helpful because now we can continue with this. Okay, and loyalty point store, and then plasma, purchase. We are going to purchase 3. Yes. And now get back this ammunition. The worst part, of course, of being an alpha character without 5 million skill points is not just that your skill training is slow, but because you cannot have those tax reduction skills. This is the biggest hit to alpha accounts that CCP introduced change to 8% tax rate by default, which is enormous from my perspective. Apparently some alpha activities were too profitable. And this 8%, because you are buying things for ISK as well, this is effectively at least 16% of your income when you are selling things, plus the broker fees, and in this case we have to sell things to people at a quite nice for them discount. Okay, 3 million ISK. we will get only... What? Yeah, we will only sell 5,000 at this point. And then sell it again. And then let's go again and find the plasma. We will add this one to the quick bar, and then the plasma as well to the quick bar by just dragging. Can we exchange the loyalty points immediately here? I need to check. Okay, phased plasma. We have 9 million ISK, so we can exchange 25,000. And then Tribal Liberation Force. And some faction warfare ally here in the system. Your corp mates who are... yeah, well, I hope that I'm doing well, because that was the intention, to actually help people find the very best approach to starting. Because right now, I recall how I started. That was very slow, but that was even 10 years ago. And yeah, as far as I understand, the situation got even worse nowadays with the amount of alpha activities available. Most of them are capped by like 4 or 5 million ISK an hour. That's not good. And yeah, not enough risk. Do we actually are we actually making enough profit on this? Because I'm starting to wonder. So transactions, $9.3 million income minus 600 in taxes. Oof. Yeah, that's definitely not good. So if we can, we will stop at about 20 million ISK maybe. Definitely not cash out all the loyalty points at this rate. That would be a wreck. About abyssal sites. The problem with abyssal sites and alpha clones is that, yes, alpha clones can do abyssal sites if they are competent and if they have properly trained character, meaning that they have up to 5 million skill points already invested in their alpha clone. but the most important part if they have a lot of experience in EVE Online. I consider myself an experienced player, and I would not take an alpha account with alpha skill set just to fly into Abyss. I did that a year ago. The first run I died. That's it. And yeah, you can find a feat if you know where to find a feat, and if you know how to actually understand which one is good and which one is just, well, people are trying to scam you. And yeah. So in theory, yes, but for practical purpose, for a player who just starts, they are just no good, because they are just so hard. That's the problem. And there are really no... there is no room for mistake in those feats, most cases. I don't consider factional warfare to be exactly newbie friendly, but again, there at least you need to understand that, well, if you warp out early, then you are not going to die. If you don't fall asleep, then that's it. Just look around, and that's the whole mechanic that you need to understand at that point. But for an abyssal site, you need to be able to pilot your frigate manually, more or less, and most of them require frigate operation to get the most income. Or you want to have a cruiser, but then you need also a lot of investment. We are definitely not making a lot of profit on this. But maybe another 10,000 can be converted in this run. So we have converted already 17,000 loyalty points, and we only got about 5 million ISK on top of what we had before. So yeah, definitely that would be the last run. I don't think that it is worth doing this exchange. It's just very low outcome in terms of payout. I think even that data course will be better. Because we already have these, it's worth exchanging, but just that. And we don't even have enough ISK for 7 of them. Okay. Even for 6. Whoa. That is robbery in daylight. As you can see, their real price is estimated at 800 ISK, so that's probably their real price in terms of selling in Jita. Even here they are sold cheaper, because that's basically the place where these items are created by cashing out loyalty points, so if you hold this to Jita you will get much more. But we cannot do that because we are in a faction warfare with this character. And it will also take a lot of time, which will probably make it also not really profitable for us immediately. And with these two more packs with 10,000 more, we will hit 20 million ISK mark, and we will get from there into exploration for the moment. And let's see how much ISK we can get from there. And okay, 18.4 million ISK. Not much, but I'll take that. Okay, let's get to another account. So we quit this one. And I have created two more. The one I used for testing yet another income source, potential income source. And it's not going to be available for us any moment anyway. I was checking out if it's possible to fly an alpha account with Gnosis Battlecruiser and do some exploration, and no, it was not really. So this one is important here because we are going to fly Heron frigate. It's probably one of the best exploration frigates, for novices at least. Otherwise they are pretty well round, but for novice characters the extra medium slots are very useful. So we are going to pick up Caldari character for a second one, and basically, yeah, this doesn't matter, and let's make this one. And yeah, randomize appearances and randomize external appearances as well. Good, works. Random name. okay, no, not really that random name. Need something smaller. Let's cut away this part. Amamala Erna. Yeah, that's fine. The reason why we need a little bit more convenient name is because, yeah, we want to have a character that can be actually easily found. So first of all, we're going to skip this by pressing space. And now we are in the new player experience, and we can get out of it by pressing escape and skip tutorial. And boom, we are in a station. Now we need our player name stored somewhere. I will put it in the chat. And then we need to quit again. Yeah, claim, that's fine. And then return to our first account. And use our main character, that is main for the moment at least, to send ourselves the ISK so that we can quick start our second character. Yeah, this one is annoying really, because there is some time between you creating a character and it being able, it being foundable anywhere. We cannot do that immediately. Okay, never mind. Let's just head straight into Jita while we are having this character, and hope that by the time we arrive it will become foundable and searchable. And the goal of this character is just to get to Jita, get the Heron Explorer ship, and filaments, all the parts that we need, and go into nullsec directly. Again, because we are starting a Caldari, flight to Jita is very quick. That is another benefit of using Caldari character. I believe it's possible that we cannot find ourselves so far that we are in this novice system. Might be that might be the case. And again, camera shake, general settings, transparency, happiness. And we're going to this trade hub station. And I'm going to, while we are flying, redeem all this stuff. It doesn't really matter where. And I can also maybe start applying some skill points immediately. So the default interface settings are just not user-friendly. Or maybe they are for some users who play I don't know what kind of screen. So what we need first of all is Caldari frigate. We need it at level 4. So we're going to, well, maybe the easiest way would be to just drag it here, all the way to level 4, because this one gives bonuses to the scan strength of the hull that we're going to fly. Then navigation, We want to be able to escape. I think that's, yes, evasive maneuvering level 3 is must have anytime you're flying anywhere. This is not really critical. Warp drive operation will be helpful. Since we have a lot of skill points on this character and since it's going to be exploration focused, we don't really care about anything else, so we can spend some skill points there. And maybe even high-speed maneuvering, why not? This extra saving in capacitor and navigation as well. All stuff is good stuff. Scanning. That is the critical stuff. Here we want to have archaeology at least. Level 3. Acquisition at level 2. Basically everything that we are allowed to train under alpha account. And hacking is not extremely critical, but can be a good help if we find some hacking site. And we're going to have a hacking module installed. And then the main weapon system of our ship is going to be drones. So we're going to add drones. Just keep adding them to level 5. And then drone interfacing. Well, we don't have the skill book and money to buy it at the moment, but eventually we will buy one. And yeah, this is going to be like that. And once we have at least some skills already planned, we can apply skill points by this button. And it will tell us that we are going to spend 500,000. That's enough. And we can even leave some skill like drone avionics in the queue just so that some skill points are coming passively over time. Okay, let's check once again if we can find our character from the other account now. In the long term, you might want to have a corporation for your characters, but the problem is that you will have to have that corporation enrolled into the factional warfare, or have your factional warfare characters outside of basic the corporation, which will result in the same shenanigans that we'll have to deal with right now. Okay, now it's found. And immediately, since we are identifying this as ourselves, I'm going to add a contact with best standing. Now every time we open this character, we can check that this is actually us. And I'm going to give ourselves money, basically 18 million. And return to the Explorer. Now we are okay. Yeah, in a moment, return to that. I will need to check Eve Scout Terra map, because that is going to be our exit and entry to nullsec at the moment, because we want to get not into a random nullsec. It is possible to get into a random nullsec, but it will take some time to reach these storms from a random nullsec, which is not something that we want. Plus, we want to be able to get into certain locations by using this map and this information service, so that, well, if something happens to us there, we can always get into the same location, at least while these holes exist. So that's about, well, up to 24 hours. And then if they close, then there will be something nearby probably, or eventually there will be something in the same region at least. So yeah, since we want to get to this Paragon Soul, The closest hole would be this catch hole. That's not good. Let's check the other storm. And then Eve Scout. So the second electric storm is in Cobalt Edge region. And Cobalt Edge, where is it? Okay, here. I think we might not be interested in that because it's a drone region. Okay, never mind. Sorry, but we cannot get into this Paragon Sol conveniently today. Jumping through into Catch and go to Stain and Esoteria and then to Paragon Sol, that's just too long of a route through nullsec. Ideally, we want to have an exit either in Esoteria period basis or in Paragon Sol itself, then it would be fast. But maybe we can do that at a little bit later date. And if I will catch an exit from Thera in any of the systems, then we will get there this way. It's not extremely reliable, but it is still way more reliable than what we are going to do now instead. Let me show you. So first of all, fitting. We are going to find a frigate, Caldari Heron, and as a base we are going to use this Caldari Explorer fit, and we need to edit it a little bit. So first of all, we really don't need to have these range finding arrays. They are penalized after we have these gravity capacitor upgrade rigs anyway, so we don't need them. Instead, we are going to add here shield tanking module, small shield extender, Tech 2 will be good. And in the second medium slot, we are going to have one extremely important module, that is cargo scanner, and we are going to use the Tech 1 scoped version. I think that is 65 kilometer range, yes. In practice, it's not really that important. You can have even the cheapest one, but the difference in price is... Actually, this one is cheaper than Tech 1 for interesting reasons of how if reprocessing works. But yeah, the point is you want to have this module on all your exploration ships because it saves you time, a lot of time. Now, for the low slots, we need to have propulsion upgrade inertial stabilizer. And we're going to go with the cheaper one, and then damage control Tech 2, if we can afford that with skills, but let's see. Okay, so now we have these 3 missing skills, and we just press it. And yeah, we need to have light drone operation skill, buy and train. Check on market, maybe it's cheaper there, a little bit. Full 3 and inject this skill. Now we can add all this to queue and change the order here. We are also going to have this drone interfacing skill, also from market. Inject. It's also important to have it at level 3. And probably at the same time this light drone operation skill can be increased to at least level 4, because, well, drones are the only thing that we are going to have as a damage. Not that we are going to have any need for that, but just in case. Level 4. Okay. Now we can remove this drone avionics because that's not what we're interested in training right now. Durability, sharpshooting and navigation, all these skills are quite important for drones, but again, not as important as what I have injected right now. Let's apply this. Another 186,000 skill points gone. And we can put everything else into the training queue. So check on market, buy, check on market, buy, and then sharpshooting. I think, oh yeah, durability, of course. That would be all for support skills for drones. And we can have them training in the background on this character, because it's apparently going to be a drone operating character. Like this. And yeah, we have planned something. We can even have this in the background. Good. Now let's return back here. Here we have normal core scanning probes, 2 million ISK frigate. Everything else we have skills for, and yeah, that's good. So just feed ship. Since we don't have it, we have to press this button, buy all, and we will buy all the missing equipment from the market almost immediately. Yeah, it says that this scoped cargo is 1000% overpriced, but it's really just 5000 ISK, so we don't care. And we're going to rename it immediately here and feed ship. So now we have this Heron. Okay, so that's about the ship. We have drones in the cargo, hobgoblins, and core scanner probes. 16 is just enough. We really are not going to have much lost probes anymore, since there are now a lot of protections for you. If you don't keep them out by yourself for 2 hours, then they will just recover themselves every time you jump out of the system or log off even. Okay, what are we missing yet are filaments, and this is the most important part. So we're going to buy, okay, I will use this Pochven search term and check which one is cheaper. So the 5s are usually the cheapest ones, and sort by price, obviously. 200, yeah, home 5 and internal 15 and internal 5. Okay, so home is probably more dangerous than internal. Border is the best one, but you can see that it is also the most expensive one, so we're going to just buy one internal Pochven. That is one return filament that we need. And then we need to have extraction, proximity 5 or 15, which one is cheaper? Yes, 5 would be cheaper. That is the most expensive one, probably. And then we need to have a noise needle jack. So this one, or this one. Okay, these 25s one are the most cheap ones. It doesn't matter for you. It is the maximum limit. You can use your filament alone, basically. And yeah, the difference is about 20%. We are going to buy maybe 5 of them. And these are going to help us to enter and roll nullsec systems to our liking every 15 minutes. So we're going to stack them, store them in the cargo. Then the last part that we need is cargo containers. What was maybe just container? Yeah, we are looking for the small secure container. They have 10 cubic meters volume packaged, so we can buy quite a lot of them. I would say we can take 38, and they have unpackaged capacity of 120 cubic meters. Okay. These will be our storages for the goods that we have looted. Because normally if you just drop things in the space, then it will disappear after 2 hours, the container with your loot. But if you drop this secure cargo container, or actually not just drop, but I will demonstrate you in a moment, even before we go to null security space. If you just deploy it in a special way, it's called entering, then you will get that storage, well, actually permanent in the space. And those containers, contrary to mobile depots or tractors, they cannot be actually scanned down by combat probes. So if you make it in a reliable, safe position, I will demonstrate how to do that either, then you basically have that storage sitting in a space waiting for you with your loot. And if you are getting killed during your exploration, then you can just use Terra to get an exit to some location where you have stored that loot, and get there, pick up your loot, and return. So you are minimizing the risk with this. And your ship is costing basically just this 2 million ISK, and we are going to drop filament in the container as well. So let's go to some planet, and I will make a spot by pressing Ctrl B during the flight. Yep. So these spots are serving 2 purposes. First of all, we need to have this spot to actually activate a filament, because we cannot do that next to any object. And the second is that we need to actually, well, these spots can be used as location to store your containers. This is not a secure spot yet, because when we created it, we have been mid-warp between this planet and the other group of objects. So if somebody knows at least one end of this line, then they can just go to that location and establish that your container is somewhere mid-warp between this location and the other location, and then using the distances pinpoint the exact location where this container is, and then just warp back and forth until they manage to get this location more or less exact, and then maybe warp using warp drive, the micro warp drive, that is, in normal space. Okay, so to deploy these containers, we get them selected, right click, and we select launch for self. And here we have small secure container. That's it. It will sit in the space. We can save its location. We can set a password. It is important to set a password here so that other players cannot get access to whatever is inside without destroying the container. So the container can be destroyed. If it will be destroyed, then the loot will drop using the same rules as normal kill. So 50% of stored will drop. So always set a password here as well. And you can rename them. So we will just set it to name 1. Once you are done with it, if you are in a space, for example, like here in this security space, high security space, then you can scoop them to the cargo hold. But since when you are deploying them, they get unpacked, on scoop, they will take 400, well, actually not 400, 100 cubic meters of cargo already. And we cannot afford that. It will not fit into our cargo, so we will have to leave this one here. Okay, I hope that is clear. Otherwise, it gets inside this 120 cubic meters, which is more than enough to store any number of salvage that you might get. Okay, let's rearrange a little bit our panel. Useless stuff on the right, important stuff on the left. And let's get into the nullsec. Let's start exploring. To do that, first of all, we need to right-click ourselves and select Pilot, Form Fleet With. That is because all these filaments actually require you to be in a fleet, otherwise they will not work for you. And then you need to select your safety, I think at least to partial, because that's how those filaments work. You will not be able to otherwise use the gate. Then we need to select the one that we want to use. We will use this noise 25 and use it. And there is a warning that it will take us up to 25 pilots of our fleet to a random null security, and we will get a log off timer, so we will not be able to exit the game safely for some time. Hi. So let's get there. And we are transported with the filament immediately. Not like with any other thing. Not like with abyssal filaments where you get a gate. These drag you in instantly. Okay, so we're now in a system AYD9X-Q. So let's see what is the system actually in .lan. AY9X. So we are, I think it's a drone region. I'm not exactly certain. We can, yeah, local pirates, drones. That is bad. Drone regions are special in the sense that we cannot really get any good relics here, so we cannot really do a lot of exploring. Let's see if we can get anywhere from here that will not be drone region. I think all of these are. Yep. Okay, in such case we normally will have to wait for this capsulator log off timer to pass, and then we will be able to activate another needle jack to get into another system. Meanwhile, we can check if there are any data sites nearby in this system. Since there is no one here, we are pretty safe at the moment. Also, since when we are warping in, we're located, I think, quite randomly, so we are in some safe spot effectively, so we can basically save our location as safe spot and warp here in case of danger. There is some signature, at least somewhere nearby. It may be a wormhole. If it's a wormhole that leads to another null security space, that would be actually a good escape route for us. So let's start scanning. Hide the fleet. And we need to set this up initially, because these windows are better be kept floating like this, not covering your whole view. And we need to set this, hide anomalies. And we have two actually potential signatures. Let's see what's inside. I'm using double click to rotate camera 90 degrees up and down. That is a very nice feature. You can basically make sure that you are looking straight top to bottom or from sideways. And this allows you to actually use upper panel to locate you in horizontal axis, basically the target and your probes. And then in vertical axis, you can do it after doing this double click on space and using this arrow that points only in vertical direction. And if you have not noticed, first thing when I'm scanning, I'm double clicking the signatures that I'm scanning, either here in the list or in the space by pressing when it highlights a little bit with this white circle. Yeah, welcome. This is actually, I hope this will be helpful. At the moment, we're basically waiting time because really there is not so much that we can get from drone regions. So 10 minutes and 30 seconds is something that we will have to deal with. Luckily, not many systems in EVE Online are drone regions, so the chances of getting here are not so great. On the other hand, that's the thrill of exploring. You always get some location. So once again, double click, drag using this center box, then double click on space to rotate, use arrow to position vertically, and double click again. And reduce the size, and analyze. Every time you get this identified location with strong circle around it, then you can just decrease the range safely. Then you can be sure that the true location of the anomaly will be within half of the scanning range of your probes. So basically you have, let's say at the moment it's 4 AU. So after scanning down, this probe is no further away from this location than 2 AU. And you want to keep the true location always within this, well, whatever shape is formed, pentagram, I guess, by these probes in the center. Again, double clicking, placing, double clicking in space, vertical arrow, analyze. Oh, sorry, I forgot to reduce the size. Yep. In such cases where you have scanned twice at the same range, you can actually imagine that your target is in the middle between the points that you had. So you only shifted by half. This sort of improves your accuracy a little bit. But it's actually quite pointless anyway. Okay, so we have a wormhole. That's interesting. If it leads by any chance to another nullsec, then we probably are going to take it instead of waiting for noise to cool down. Okay, so I guess the goal of today's stream would be to find an actual relic in a real system, not this drone region one, hack it, and I will leave this character hanging in nullsec for the future streams, and instead we'll call that first successful hack a day, and I will make the raffle for the people who are subscribed to the channel. Well, I cannot really tell exactly, about 10 years. But playing Eve is very weird and very different from what you get in different MMOs. Basically, when you are paying subscription, you are already playing Eve Online. Okay, so we got this wormhole. I will save it for ourselves with decay of 2 days. And this wormhole, if we press I to get the description, it says that it leads to high security space actually. That's very nice. And yeah, if you get this message, then it means more or less that you are having at least 4 hours of time on that wormhole, so it will not close instantly. And we need to return back to the safety spot. Yes, you can scan from 8 in theory, not from 4. 4 is a little bit risky, you might get outside of that scope. 8 is more reliable, but I prefer to scan from larger size, just because it gets you better overview of what's in the system. You get more signatures at the same time, and then you get also their strength. That's just a reflex. Actually, yeah, it's suboptimal. And here we need to start scanning. Yeah, we can try with 8 AUs. Probably we're going to have enough pinpointing. So in short, there are 2 different strategies for scanning. One is you need to get the highest signal, and the other one is that you need to also actually locate this thing. And location is basically defined by your pinpointing skill, which you cannot train on Omega. Oh, sorry, on Alpha. It's an Omega skill. But at the same time, the strength influences this pinpointing quality, basically by reducing the deviation, the radius of error. And when you get to 100% strength, you get the accurate position anyway. But with pinpointing skill, you can do that much faster and you can skip steps. And if you have pinpointing trained, then you can actually indeed start with 4 use. Yeah, well, on and off is basically how it goes for most players in EVE Online. I personally don't know people who would have been playing EVE Online all the time. But at the same time, it's also a good game in the sense that you can play it and then drop it and then return, and it's not like World of Warcraft where all your assets will be suddenly depreciated because new expansion came out. Instead, everything that you have will still be with you, all skills, all items, and they will be almost as valuable anyway. But the most important is your skill, and that will stay with you forever. Okay, let's see what's the other where the other wormhole leads us. That's intriguing. And I also want to check out that high security wormhole, because just curious where it leads. The thing about wormholes is that there are basically two large groups. There are K162 wormholes, which are the exit sides of a wormhole. And then there are these other numbered wormholes. And the numbered wormholes basically vary between the location from which they lead into location to where they lead. So between different classes of wormhole space and between different classes of actual K space. So this would be a low security one. And the thing is that if no one have warped to these locations before us, and since this is an empty system, we can kind of assume that nobody did, it is possible that these wormholes were not opened, meaning that the other end does not yet exist until somebody enters them. I right now don't recall if there have been any changes. When I used to play and live in wormhole space, it was that you just had to warp on the signature to open the other end. I think at some point there was a change that you had to actually enter the wormhole before the other end spawns. And where we are. And we're somewhere in Amar Empire. It would have been great if we have been not in a region, in a drone reg region, because that would have been already an exit. So right now we have two options. We can sit here in high security space or even in low security space, or we can just try out low security maybe, and then use noise to jump into another null. And yes, this is one important thing about wormholes. You can see this orange timer. When you are entering a wormhole, you cannot enter the same one for the next 5 minutes. So if you are jumping in and then jumping back out, you will have this timer of at least 3 minutes if you wait for your proper immunity timers. And this will prevent you from entering. That's one thing. If you are going to enter a wormhole that leads especially to basically the wormhole space, then you need to be aware of that. Okay, somewhere also near Amar, as far as I understand. the map. The relic is probably Amar region. Or actually it's Amatar main date region, but I think Amatar main date is basically Amar friends. Okay. Okay, our timer is out, so we can now use another noise. Let's hope we're getting some better location now. An empty drone region is not ideal. And I'm going to use noise, activate. Oh yeah, I need to move, otherwise I have this invulnerability effect, which prevents use of filaments. Okay, we have many people here, and we are in Esoteria. Actually, that is good, I guess. First of all, because we have many people in local, we need to find ourselves a safe location to be in. Let's find a planet. Well, let's warp to a customs office at 100. Moons are potentially dangerous in nullsec because there might be some player-owned stations still with guns. And save location while warping. What do we have here in terms of scanner? So first of all, check this out. A lot of structures, so this is probably a very inhabited system. Well, judging from the amount of people here, that's also obvious. And sorting by distance, from small numbers to large numbers, I can see that there is no one at least immediately nearby. Okay, so let's find ourselves on the map. DIBH. This is more or less a nullsec survival course as well now. Okay, this is where we need to get actually to get into the storm. This GIK5. Yes, that's the location of that metaliminal storm I wanted to visit. At least it was there yesterday in this 90, and it's probably very close. So before we are starting to move there, we are going to use Eve gate camp checking tool and validate if there have been any recent kills nearby. Again, we are going to do scanning, but since this particular system is quite inhabited, core scanner probes are not dangerous for us because that's just people looking for anomalies. They will not find us with core scanner, but if you see combat scanner probes, then it's dangerous. And here DIBH. So yeah, we need to check the route before we're starting moving. With this, shortest path, check. And we can see that there have been no kills, at least within last hour, anywhere in the system. So it is more safe to travel right now. It's not ever perfectly safe, but definitely in a system with 5 people we're not going to scan. And now we're going to do our first nullsec warp to a gate. And we're not going to warp directly. Instead, we're going to pick up the planet nearby, or literally any object, and use customs office because there are just 2 moons, so it's not really useful. And warp to that custom object office first. And use directional scanner to check if there is something nearby the gate. Absence of any ships here is a good sign. And then we are going to just warp to the gate directly from the location nearby. The reason why you have to do this trick is because if you are in a transit system, I can maybe demonstrate something like this. This is a very large tube, a large chain of system, which every of them has only 2 gates. So when you are traveling, people know from which gate you are traveling and where you are going to exit. And on that route, they can make a camp, a gate camp. Basically, they will hide in the next system, the one after your route, and they will put a drag warp bubble that will not only prevent you warping out from the gate when they get you, but it will also drag you about 100 kilometers away from the gate itself. So you will not have well, the opportunity to just quickly move to the gate and jump and use gate protection timer. So again, the same trick. And this looks like the same person. Sorry in advance. They are probably living here. I don't know. No ships on scanner, which also is a good sign. They can be cloaked, for what we know, but assuming that everybody is cloaked is quite inefficient. Most players in EVE Online are actually not cloaked, even in nullsec space. And ships that are having cloaking usually have quite significant penalties that make them not very efficient at combat. And we can, I think, move our safety to green now. In null security space it does not matter, because in null security space everybody can do anything to anyone, even with green safety. It's like everybody has the red one. You are not going to get this suspect and criminal flags. Okay, no one here. That's a good location to be in. If we can find some complexes here, then we can check. So let's make a spot. Probe scanner. Yeah, there are 2 signatures in the system. We can deploy our probes and warp back to the spot, and while we are warping we can already start scanning. These systems, like Esoteria and Paragon Soul, are actually quite far away, location-wise, and except for noises and like occasional wars, and you will know about nullsec wars because EVE Online will have every pilot informed. But yeah, except for those, there is not so much PvP activity. There are occasional people coming from Terra or using noise filaments and set up random gate camps, but if you use the gate camp checking tool frequently during your trip, not only before but also like every 15 minutes to get a refresher. Okay, great, we got our first relic. Then you're good to go actually. The most dangerous would be that somebody will set up a permanent warp disruption bubble on a gate. These are annoying. And of course, if you see that there is a gate camp, then the most important thing for you is not to panic and just log off this character, and that's why you want your exploration character to be some throwaway that you don't have any other tasks for. So these novice characters with 1 million skill points are almost perfect for that. Okay, I'm not going to scan immediately anything else. We have such a good local at the moment, so that it's good. It's better not to waste it. And I'm going to prepare to create a bookmark without expiration time immediately when I see something in overview. So when I start seeing the grid, I press submit button, and then I get this 169 kilometer away bookmark. Not perfect, but that's enough for us, at least right now. Let's see if I will be able to warp into that container. 134, not good. But we can warp to some structure, or actually maybe the site itself, and use warp within. And this is going to be, so 172, 136, so 30 kilometers away. And you can use the spot to rewarp to containers. That's very helpful. And now we are just 10 kilometers away. Approach it, lock it. One cycle of micro warp drive, and we activate the cargo scanner and the relic analyzer. So with cargo scanner, we can see that this one has almost nothing in it, so 65,000. So we're not going to hack it at all. Instead, we're going to open it once, fail the hack, open it twice, and destroy it. And approach the next one with one cycle of micro warp drive. Okay, someone in the local. That's not ideal. Red aligns. We'll keep scanning, and we will keep carefully watching directional scanner, and at the same time what's inside this. 368,000, still not worth it. And I will just warp to our spot right now. I failed to pop up that container, forgot to activate the second time. But again, this is probably not worth your time. Anything below 1 million ISK in container. But it's good to clean them up after yourself, because that allows those instances of basically anomalies respawn. It's not good sign that I don't see that person in the local, so I will not continue at the moment. It is possible that they are cloaked, and it is also possible that they are looking for us specifically. Usually nullsec alliances have what's called an intel chat, where they will basically post everybody who flies through their systems. And for that purpose, okay, we have 2-minute log off timer. After that time passes, we can just ignore that person and log off here and let them get out of the system and continue with our relic. And meanwhile, we can scan down the second anomaly. Range for AU. Usually you can see this small red bubble around the place where your scan has been. This is basically the deviation error, and then you have this additional deviation that comes from the range of your probes at which it was scanned. So in that case it was a very small one in terms of error, but I mean random one, but then still you can see it jumped quite a lot. they sit here. I don't see any particularly interesting stations in the range of my scanner. It doesn't mean that there is none, but it means that very likely that this person is trying to hunt us. On the other hand, I have not seen their scanner probes. It's a tough bet. Okay, combat site is something we are not interested in, so we are ignoring it. And our log off timer is 16, 15. Once it's done, we are going to log off for about maybe 1 minute. Meanwhile, let's do a raffle. Let's log off this character and let's do a raffle. Yes, you have to leave the fleet. And save location just in case of the relic site, although we have this warping bookmark 111. Again, normally I would have been a little bit more reckless, but since we are just starting and since we don't have a lot of ISK, it's better to be on the cautious side, I guess. Okay. Meanwhile, let's make the raffle. I will load my trader character from last year. So I will now change the chat to subscribers only. And now you can put your character name in the chat if you want to participate in the raffle. I will then add you to the channel in-game, and there I will make a node, the hyperspace node for some random item of no value, but that item will be having 100 million ISK attached to it as a bonus. So put your character name in game if you want to participate, and I will add you to this channel. And yes, if we get less than 3 participants, then you will just get the rewards directly. Okay. So you should get the invite. Anybody else is interested in participating? Okay. Are you sure that this is your in-game name? Yeah, the upper one, I guess, right? It will be necessary if there will be more than 3 people, but I guess at the moment not many people are subscribed to this channel. I don't know. We still have at least 1 spot, and I wait for another 3 minutes, so until 2015, if there is somebody interested in participating. After that I will, well, if there will be less than 3 participants, I will just give out money. Thank you. So, anybody else from viewers who would like to have 100 million ISK? You have 2 minutes. No strings attached, except that you have to be subscribed to the channel, but even that is temporary. And yes, I assume there might be some people who have just subscribed, because the limit is 5 minutes. So yeah, let's wait until 16 minutes so that people who have been subscribing during that time can write their names. But that will not be the last raffle, so join the future streams and you will have chance also to participate in them. You're running... I didn't skill my tune. I don't know what exactly you mean. Yes, I have been trying. I have a video from that time, about 1 year ago. I have tried to do destroyer-sized T1 Abyss, but yeah, I would not say that it was a huge success. At least at that point of time, it was not very profitable comparatively to the commodity hauling. But commodity hauling in turn have been nerfed with this 8% tax badly. Yeah, well, that's another way to play EVE Online. Socialize. You can actually get even more ISK from joining any corporation or nullsec alliance. Many of them have some kind of novice helper programs where they will give you ships and money to kickstart your character quite rapidly. But that is not the scope of our channel, primarily because nullsec alliances come, well, with strings attached. They expect you to be active and they expect you to help them by participating in PvP activities usually. I had my fair share of nullsec military service by basically joining the fleets. I would not say it was a complete waste of time. It was fun at times. But big wars don't happen often, and epic battles are something for news articles more than for players. Most of the PvP action in fleets is like, well, come to the station, destroy it, capture the objective. Okay, well, since there are no more participants, I will just congratulate Akalaka Dindon and also Milli Trillion, and you will get each 100 million ISK. Thank you for participating, and let's get back to our nullsec character. So, and I will return chat to normal mode. Good. Now, let's see if we have the opportunity to actually finish this relic site. If not, then we will just proceed to the storm location. Hi. I'm fine. And you? And yeah, they're gone. So I suspect that they were trying to actually hunt us down. And the bookmark was quite helpful. And yeah, we can use that with warp 2 within 100, so that we can warp reliably to any container. Nah, I don't think so. Pick up a fast frigate. Most gate camps you will just pass. Of course, when people are setting up a gate camp, they know that you will be flying a frigate, so they will prepare some special ships and bonuses, which allows them to capture you fast. But if you have a sub 2 second warp out, then nothing can catch you. And I will make a bookmark again. Yes, that was good. Yeah, the important part here is to have this cargo scanner rolling at the same time as you go. Let's see if we can just hack it. Oh. No. Because that saves you a lot of time. And you can start hacking it and then see that it is worth 100,000 ISK, 200,000 ISK, and not worth hacking. And then you just cancel it. Make a second attempt without even doing anything, and yeah, the container blows up. They have their own kind of fun. As I told in previous stream, EVE is PvP in EVE Online, is kind of fishing. You have your hook, your bait, and then that's all you need. Yeah, one important thing about scanning, you have seen here, I have been opening the systems that have full connections, that's so-called rule of 6. Such systems don't have defensive nodes in them. So if you have an option to open a system with full connections, then do that. And I will actually have 5 million ISK in this one, so we need to be really careful. Let's see. And then numbers. Numbers indicate the distance to the next special node. Like these bonuses and hidden caches. Don't open them immediately, but only when you are having no other options. Okay, good. We will have this 5 million one. And open it and loot it. Done. Back to the spot. These spots are actually very useful because 50% of the time when you are not on the... when you are in this location, you will be either in warp to or from this spot or hacking container. So it's 50-50 chance when somebody arrives to this anomaly. And because they don't have this prepared, they don't know the location of the one from which you are entering this, it will be much more difficult for them to catch you. Have they nerfed it? I think it should still be possible with some tech tree ships maybe. I haven't heard about people CCP nerfing them. Yes, ping on the warp in, basically. You can have it prepared, the bookmark window. Okay, 37,000, so not worth spending our time. I am getting distracted a little bit. The moment you see something in overview, you are in the grid and you can basically have the location saved. If you have decent enough ping of your computer connection, then good reaction, then you will get maybe even 500 kilometer away ping spot immediately in this. Yep, more than 100 kilometers. You can of course get it like reliably if you don't manage to do that by reacting to overview appearing. Then you can first warp at 100, then return to your safe spot and then do warp at 100 again. Then you will get 200 kilometer spot. But that's not the most, again, small one. Ignore. Explode. Again, you don't have to hack them, but you want to explode them every time they are left, because otherwise they will be polluting, well, they will be preventing this location from despawning for at least 2 hours, and that will ruin everybody's day. Especially if you are in the storm. The storm are also special in the way that whenever there is, well, basically they have instant respawn of those relics. It's not in the same system, but it is at least in the same storm location. So 3 million, so need to be very, very thoughtful about this one, and I did a mistake. Carefully, rule of 6 first. Then other exploration nodes. And maybe check. Yeah, I'm going to blow this one up. Probably a red core. Again, in the storm you get bonuses to hacking as well. So even if you have quite novice skills, your chances of getting loot inside the storm location are way better. Not 6s. Keep an eye on the local all the time. Recover this one immediately. Can we please get kernel? Yes. Whew. That was close. 3 million. Okay, and yeah, I have accidentally didn't activate the analyzer on this one again. Blow it up. Everything is clean and we can go on with our business. So about 2 hours and this relic will respawn somewhere nearby, but we're probably not going to be here anymore at that time. Well, some people say that data sites in some nullsec are more profitable. This nullsec is Serpentis one, so outside of Storm it's probably not extremely high profitability, but as you have seen, this relic is 10 million ISK, even more than that. So in theory, random, you can get more or less than that. You can get a relic that has been already hacked by someone. This was a tier 2 relic, so it's not the best reward. I think the tiers 1, 2, 3, 4 get you slightly more rewards. And with tier 4 you also get a little bit more annoying hacking, but still. Okay. Since there have been no one in this system for a very long time, we're quite safe warping in like that, but don't do that usually. Okay. Again, 2 people with similar names, probably alts. And now you can see we are already starting to get the effect of the storm because we are so close to it. But this is a weak metaliminal storm. That's not the main system where we want to be. At the same time, where is the next gate? Okay, let's warp out first to some location, because sitting like that in the gate at the gate is really bad. Especially if there are people in the system. But already here in this one, cloaking devices cannot operate, which means that if there is someone here, they will be visible in directional scanner, except for those heavy interdictor ships. Combat recons, which are not showed on this scan, even though they are not cloaked. And you can see there are now some advertisements in Russian saying that if you like scanning, then you can join the corporations. And also Red Alliance alts. I think this person is not doing scanning, meaning probe scanning. Either way, we're not going to sit here if they are already in this system, because they might have advantage. Okay, there are no objects nearby, so we will have to warp there directly. Okay, so it's Hecate. Not good, but not extremely bad yet. No one at the gate. Again, they cannot cloak here, so it's not dangerous for us now. And yeah, essentially, I think I need to find a couple of signatures here. Or maybe I can just drop this character at the moment for today on a safe spot and just call it a day, and then continue the other time where there will be less people around. Again, these storms depend on your prime time. Yes, I bet the combat sites are more likely. When you see two people in nullsec together, that's more likely to be basically a person with their alt doing a combat site. Because most combat sites in nullsec require you to have two combat capable ships to be done relatively fast. Or done at all. Okay, so summarizing today, we have managed to cash out the factional warfare partially. Not everything, because the rate was very bad. And we have made a new alt character that is going to be used for scanning. And again, if you don't see anything to scan, you just log off this character and go do factional warfare with your main. And that's the way you do. And when you have this loot, you deploy a small secure container by pressing it with right-click button and launch for self. Then it will be anchored. If you do it on a safe spot in deep space location, then players will not bother even in most cases to find it. And you can store your valuables there in case your ship gets destroyed. When you get back, you then use the Pochvin and extraction filaments, which we will use at some point in later streams with this character. And yeah, that's the way how you are going to farm the nullsec exploration sites. Basically, try to head for the storm locations, because they are so good in terms of the rate at which the relics respawn, and because they have these bonuses to virus coherence, 10 at weak, and actually I think 20 at strong, and then 20% and I think also 30% bonus to probe strength. Basically the rate at which the signal strength of your probes, which helps a lot as well. And then the fact that you cannot use cloaking devices here makes them actually way safer for you in a cheap Tech 1 frigate, because you are not a valuable target and most hunters will have a lot of trouble finding you. and well, not finding you exactly, but getting close to you at the same time without you noticing them in directional scatter. Keep it open, check local, and you will be getting quite a lot of money. People say that they get from these areas maybe even 50 million ISK an hour, and that is even more reliable income than factional warfare, because factional warfare, as you have seen, you still need to do some extra legwork after, so you need to farm maybe, I don't know, up to 1 million loyalty points and then start grinding things out of the loyalty points into ISK. And that would be all for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss following streams. I will be trying to get at least one of these accounts to PLEX as soon as possible. But as a suggestion, if you are actually having an alpha account, or keep your skill pool training filled, and you will eventually reach a point where it will have this yellow lines indicating that you will reach alpha clone limit, and this will be your golden moment when you have enough money for a PLEX, for Omega. Then you can reach these 5 million skill points, use Omega, and then after you have trained another 2 million skill points, extract them and get a huge discount on your next Omega subscription. Yep. Fly safe.